When a 13-year-old girl was buying sanitary pads at the supermarket, the cashier actually treated her like this. I've lived for over 20 years, and I've truly never heard or seen anything like this before. It is truly heartbreaking. Here's what happened. Teacher Joe was at work that day and planned to buy some food at the supermarket. She saw a little girl in a school uniform looking for items on the shelf. Just as the girl picked up the item and was about to pay, she patted her pocket, checked it, and realized she still didn't have enough money. But by this time, a long line had already formed behind the little girl, and some people were urging her to hurry up. Seeing the customers getting impatient, the cashier loudly urged, "If you don't have enough money, put the item back. Don't hold everyone up here. Why are you out shopping if you don't have money?" Upon hearing this, the little girl's face turned red instantly. She lowered her head, tightly clutching the 2 packs of sanitary pads, which appeared particularly vivid. With no other option, the little girl reluctantly prepared to put the items back on the shelf. When I saw this scene, I walked over directly. I also looked at the items she was holding. They weren't expensive, right? I said I would help her pay. After taking out her mobile phone to pay, the little girl looked up and looked at me with grateful eyes. With her grandmother, she was in the nearby area. She said, "Once my grandmother gives me money over the weekend, I'll pay you back immediately." I said, "Miss, it didn't cost much. You don't need to worry about it." When I called her miss, I saw the little girl's eyes instantly well up with tears. I said, it's okay, child. Your brother only spent a little over 10 yuan. Have you eaten yet? Just so happens I'm going to eat too. Let's go together. I'll treat you to something delicious." The girl shook her head, and I took her hand and walked outside. Right next to the company, we each ordered a bowl of beef noodles. I asked her to sit down, but the little girl just stood there, motionless, looking uncomfortable. I said, "What's wrong, child? Don't be embarrassed. Uncle isn't a bad person." She said, "Uncle, I'm not saying you're a bad person. I'm just embarrassed because there's blood on my pants." It was then that I suddenly realized as a grown man I didn't know how to handle this. I quickly took off my jacket and gave it to her. I said, it's okay. Fortunately, there's a lady at this noodle shop whom I'm very familiar with as I often eat here. I spoke to her and said, "Ma'am, could you help the child with this?" After coming out, I called her and said, "Child, come over quickly and eat. The noodles are getting soggy. When you get home, let your mom teach you how to handle this properly." The little girl looked at me with her big eyes and said, "Mom is no longer here. Both my mom and dad are gone." I realized upon hearing this that she was a child with a tough life, now living with her grandmother. But the little girl was incredibly strong. She didn't shed a single tear. I also was worried. I feared that this child might cry. She said she didn't dare to cry because whenever she cried, her grandmother would cry too. Her grandmother wasn't in good health, and she didn't want her grandmother to get sick again. I patted her head, thinking what a sensible child she was. After the child finished eating, I went to the supermarket and loaded a 500 yuan shopping cart for her. I knew that if I gave it directly to the little girl, she might not accept it. So I told the little girl this: "Remember this money, and when you grow up and start earning, you should pay me back with interest." I said, "My company is just across the street. If you miss me, come find me, and I'll take you to eat something delicious again." Then I drove her to the school gate, and she said to me, "Brother, thank you. It's been a long time since someone took me to school." Seeing that she was also very happy, she said she would definitely come to find me in the future. Returning to the office, I couldn't calm my heart for a long time. I kept thinking such a little girl is really pitiful, especially as she is entering adolescence without anyone around to guide her. Thinking about it, I felt a pang of sadness because I also have a younger sister, and I know what this means for a girl. Suddenly, I remembered that in my rush to return to the company store, I didn't have time to ask for the child's detailed address. Right at that moment, that Sunday afternoon, the weather was extremely cold. I was taking a nap at the company when suddenly I heard a voice say, "Brother." It was a voice I found very familiar. I looked up and saw it was the same little girl I'd met before. She was running over, sweating profusely, and said, "Brother, these past few days my grandmother and I went to the market to sell cabbages. We finally saved enough money, and I came specifically to repay you and return your clothes." As she spoke, she handed me the thing she was holding along with a bag of cucumbers. So, after meeting her, I learned the little girl's address and thought that I could do something for the child in the future. From then on, every weekend I would take my sister to the girl's house to bring her some food, supplies, and study materials. I deeply understand that on the journey of life, one can encounter all sorts of things, but when I come across something where I can lend a hand, I do. Our small acts of kindness might not mean much to the average person, but for those in need, it can be like providing help in a time of dire need.